Alrighty, my stenographer's on strike. Well, I guess she needs a raise. Anyway, hope you can read my scriptures up there. Anyway, we've been last week we talked about life as a journey, not a destination. Oswald Chambers says life is not so much a life of mounting up with wings of eagles as it is a life of walking and not fainting. How many of you get a little tired every now and then? It's the mundane life. It's the toughest part. I was telling my staff the other night, I've been doing basically the same thing every week for the last 20 years. And within all that, there's a lot of stuff that goes on, but for the most part, my life is pretty mundane. But I tell you what, mundane's a lot better than being psychotic, isn't it? Amen. So we need to learn to appreciate the mundane and understand that life, for the most part, something we need to know that we know as a disciple. This life is a destination, not a journey, is imperative that you understand this. If you don't understand this principle right here, you're in for a lot of frustration, a lot of conflict between you and God. You said there's a conflict that's been ongoing that is a conflict between us and God. Man's goal is different than God's goal. We said man's goal is, we're destination minded, aren't we? We're goal orientated. Is that the way it's pronounced? We're when and then people. When I get a better job, then I'll be happy. When I get out of the lodge, then I'll be happy. When I get off probation, then I'm going to be happy. When I get married, I'll be happy then. Then you get married, and then it's like, when I get divorced, then I'll be happy again. When I get a house, then I'll be happy. When I get the kids out of the house, then I'll be happy. When I get new windows in the house, the point is, there's always going to be something, isn't it? Okay? So we get married, and then we got another whole set of problems. Then we get divorced, and we got another set of problems. Life's like that. It's just, we need to get out of fantasy and get into reality and realize that life, for the most part, is pretty mundane. It's a journey. And so God's goal includes the destination. Certainly He wants us to be happy. I mean, those are the goals, but we get so focused on what we want, and we get confused in this unresolved conflict between what God wants, and we need to understand first and foremost, God cares about the destination, but what He cares about first and foremost is the journey itself, which is the process. God cares as much about how we're waiting as what we're waiting for. Our attitude. We're waiting for these things, but we're so impatient in our attitude and our character, is not growing. Because we're missing, and we're so focused on what we want that we miss what God's trying to do. And last time I realized God was my Lord, right? Supposedly. He's my Lord, He's my Savior, it is what it is, and He's the boss. And the sooner I begin to realize that He's Lord, He's in control, and I begin to shift and resolve that conflict and get in on His agenda and support what He's doing, then I'm going to be able to start being successful. And then I'm working with God, not against God. Now I'm joining God, I'm not fighting God. And so there's this conflict all the time between our goals and God's goals. And as a disciple, you're going to have to get over that. You're going to have to get into reality, get out of fantasy that the world is what it is. And we got to cowboy up and deal with it in God's ways. Serenity prayer says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Life is what it is. I can't change life. I can't change people by direct action, but I can change myself, can't I? And so God is, we threw something out there. Actually, I think it was one that I actually came up about. God is more interested in development than He is deliverance. We're like, oh God, deliver me. Oh God, do this. Oh God, help me here. Do this. And our prayers are so me-centered, I-centered about my agenda. And it's like, God, deliver me from this and get me out of this. And God does want to deliver us, and sometimes He does. But for the most part, the way God works is God develops us. Sometimes He does pull us out of a fire. Praise God. I've got kind of a wild card, that I use sometimes when. That I try not to use it. And when I go to my knees and say, Lord, this is one of them moments, and I need you, God. I need you, and I need you quick. God is always, almost every single time, I can't tell you. And I don't pull that card out, so to speak, unless I really need it. But when God does, He's there. But for the most part, God's not interested in pulling me out of the fires. He wants to teach me how to learn to walk through the fires. Okay, I was thinking the other day, oh God, give me wisdom. Okay, you think God's just going to drop down wisdom and make me a wise person? No, He's going to put me in situations where I don't know what to do. Difficult situations where I've got a situation in the ministry where, I ain't seen this one before. I really don't know what to do. He puts those things to develop the wisdom in me. Okay, God, make me patient. How many of you ever prayed that one? Well, God, teach me how to love. Next thing you know, you're around the most unlovely jerk you ever seen in your life. Wake up. This is the way God develops character in our life. He teaches us how to walk through these things. If I need patience, He puts me in impatient situations, and I have to learn to walk and develop patience. If I want wisdom, it requires a school of life experiences to make me wise. So I have to go through experiences and events in life that make me wise.
Amen.
It takes work. So God is more interested in character. So God's journey, this is really about character. We've been characters before. How many have ever been a character before? And instead of being characters, we need to learn how to get character. Character is integrity. It's about being a good person. It's about God's righteousness and God's moral code. Today we have a serious problem in our world today. There's no true preachers of righteousness out there. There's very few that are really preaching God's righteousness, His standard, His moral code. Greasy grace and sloppy agape, and we need people that will stand up and be having character and integrity. And they walk in a manner worthy of the Lord. Now, I said in 1 Peter 4:12 last week that, what we're talking about here is the process. God is more interested in this process. When you get okay with the process and you cooperate, then it's no problem to do this. He can do this at any time. Just say the word. And then what He said, just say the word. When I get okay with where I'm at and I cooperate with God and say, Lord, if it be possible, let this cup pass, or let this be the way it is. But either way, Lord, I'm okay. If this is the way my marriage is going to be and I'm stuck in it, then Lord, make me okay with where I am. And then when we get okay, then God doesn't need to put us in test. But Peter says in 1 Corinthians, Peter 4:12, Beloved, do not be surprised at the fiery ordeal. Have you ever been in a fiery ordeal? If you're not, you're probably not saved. Be not surprised or all freaked out. The Amplified says, don't be amazed or bewildered at the fiery ordeal that comes upon you. Why? Because it's coming for the testing of your faith. Don't be some strange or awkward thing. There's no coincidences for those of us that are children of God. It comes upon us and takes place for the test of your quality or the level of your faith. So here God cares about this, but He's more important about this process. So God will send these fires, these fiery ordeals. We talked about Abraham's timeline and how God tested him and tested him and tested him and tested him, and finally he proved himself to be the father of many nations. And we said that his example was written for us as a role model. So Abraham was our spiritual father. He was the father. And so what he went through, wake up, hello. If he went through it, we got to go through it. If he's the father, then the kids have to go through it too. The same process that he went through, we have to go through. We have to be tested. If we fail it, we just retake it. God's tests are pass or fail. There's no in between. You're not going to graduate to the next level until you pass one. So God sends these fiery ordeals. You pray for wisdom, you get tested with wisdom. You pray for patience, you get tested here. You're praying for any kind of character quality, you get that kind of fire. You learn how to love, He'll put you in the love fire. So anyway, there's no screen. He sovereignly, listen to this, God is forever. Okay? This is the nature of a good father. The Bible says that if God does not discipline us and He doesn't train us and develop us, then basically it says that we're considered illegitimate children. And He's not a good father. But God is a good father. He will see to it that we get trained. He's going to see to it. We can buck and kick and fight and get mad at God all you want to. You can throw yourself on the ground and throw a temper tantrum. All you want to do. It ain't going to change. God's not codependent. He's not going to back off. He's going to do what He needs to do. He'll reprove you. He'll correct you. He'll spank you. He'll pull off the belt. He'll put you in jail. He'll put a sickness on you. He'll do whatever He needs to do to get you where you need to be. So understand that. So God sends these forever. So God is forever orchestrating, sovereignly orchestrating events that are specifically designed to produce proven character in you. It's called the process of transformation, where we're changed from one level of glory to another level of glory. The word glory there is a word for character. So there's 3 E's. We got to learn to embrace the journey. Realize it is what it is. This is the way God works. Instead of fighting God, we got to join God. We got to embrace it. Embrace it means that we don't just tolerate it or say it is what it is. No, we embrace it. That means we get in on it and it becomes our idea. We stop asking the question, Lord, oh God, deliver me. And said, Lord, if you can deliver me, so be it. That'd be great. But more importantly, Lord, just get a hold of me and walk alongside me and develop me in this life. We got to start learning to ask the right questions. Why am I in this? What's really going on? Why am I having this test? Instead of poor little old me, you don't love me, you don't care about. We need to change. Say, okay, Lord, it is what it is. You've ordered this test. I'm either going to pass it or fail it. Lord knows I've failed it before. I want to pass it, so I'm all in. Lord, tell me what I need to do to get positioned with you. What do I need to do to get lined up, to cooperate, to get on the same page so that we can get through this thing manfully and pass this test and get on with life? The second E is we have to endure it. Like I say, we've got these situations here where we come up to these different tests. We come up to this and we're going to turn around and run, or we're going to turn around and push through it. We said last week, God is either has us in a test, or we're coming out of a test, or we're getting ready to go back through a test. But that's the process. Okay, listen. You're either going in a test, you're in a test, or you're coming out of a test. And then you're going to start all over again. That's God's method. Okay? Because you're not going to be developed until we get into heaven. So your life is going to be a journey. A series of tests, not some destination. So get in on the journey. Number 3 is learn to enjoy the journey. Live in the now. Enjoy the moment. It is what it is. Maybe you don't particularly like what's going on or whatever. Make the best of it. Say, Lord, instead of changing them, change me so that I become more okay with them.
Come on. Amen. Yes, sir.
So I've got a dingbat husband. Okay, Lord, I've been with this dingbat for 30 years. It doesn't look like anything short of a miracle is going to change him. So, Lord, keep working on him. Do what you got to do. But more importantly, change me. Change my attitude and the way I see him. give me a different perspective. You've given your love. You've shed your love abroad in my heart. The word is agape. God has put His love in us. So don't tell me you can't love that dingbat. Because God loves him. And He's put in you the way to do it. So the real key is, do you want to do it? And it's not just with that. It could be anything. So learn to have fun. All right, so tonight we're going to talk about what's so important about this process, this proven character. Why is proven character? I mean, okay, so we get character. God develops our character. So what's the big deal? So tonight we're going to talk about training for reigning. Training for reigning. We're going to take more a look at this process of training. It's the process, the journey. The journey is really about training for reigning. This book here, Destined for the Throne. This is the best book I ever read, next to the Bible. This, for me anyways, I've turned Jackie on to, I've read every book that I can get my hands on from this guy. This book changed my life. It opened my eyes to the big picture. It taught me how to start living in view of eternity with an eternal perspective. And so, training for reigning is about the big picture. It's about what's really, really going on. So we're going to look at the training and the reigning. So the first thing we need to know about the big picture is we need to know that our soul is eternal. It's called our psyche. It's made up of our mind, our will, and emotions. It's who we are on the inside. It's called the hidden person of the heart. It's our character. The hidden person of the heart, the psyche. It's who we really, really are. This external body of mine is temporary. Now that I'm a born-again Christian, the Bible even tells me that I'm a pilgrim. And then I'm an alien, and I'm a stranger. I mean, I'm illegal, but I'm an alien. My real home now, my citizenship, my real home is in heaven. I'm just down here training for reigning. I'm just down here working on character. I'm just down here trying to prepare myself for my real home in heaven. So this physical body of mine is going to die. It's going to turn back to ashes, dust to dust. But my soul, my character, when I'm done, at the end of my life, it's going to go on to heaven where it's going to be my permanent dwelling place. They say the average man lives about 76 years and then we die and we either go to heaven or hell. So this is only temporary. But what we do here is going to determine how we live here or how we reign. The word reign means to rule, have dominion, to dictate or have authority over, or to function as a king. So the thing we need to know right now is that the reason why we're going through characters, we're in kind of a laboratory, a training ground where the elect or the children of God are being trained and prepared for our real role in heaven. I was sitting in I've known this has changed my life, but I was sitting in my TV room here about 3 or 4 months ago on a Sunday night. Man, the Spirit of God I'm watching TV, okay? Thinking about something. And all of a sudden it was like this curtain opened up. In the Spirit, it was like the room changed again, and in the Spirit, it opened up, and all of a sudden the Lord gave me a picture of my real calling. He showed me the big picture. He showed me what was really going on with me. Folks, I'm down here as a pastor. I'm running Liberty Lodge Ministries. I've got responsibilities. I've got missions. I've got things I've got to do. But everything that is going on with me, the Lord showed me this. It got me so excited. I mean, I'm only going to be here maybe, just say I live to be 80 years. That's only 20 more years. But I'm going to be in home in eternity forever and forever and forever and forever. What are we going to be doing up there? We're just going to be on a cloud playing the ukulele and singing? Are we just going to be on our face worshiping God? No, we're going to have assignments. We're going to have missions. We're being prepared. We're in training for ruling and reigning. We're going to be ruling and reigning in heaven. So we don't know a whole lot about the roles up here. Let's take a look at a few things that the Bible says. It says we're going to be reigning. We're going to be ruling. We're going to have dominion. So the first one is, it says we're going to be children of God. Turn to Romans 8:16 through 17. I'm telling you, this is exciting stuff, guys, if you can get a hold of what I'm trying to tell you, and I just hope I can do it justice. But when I saw this, I said, man, what in the world am I doing here? What am I doing? This is what we're going to talk about in the next couple of weeks, about learning to live with an eternal perspective, how to invest into the heavenlies, how to get rich in heaven. You know, I gave up on being rich down here. I lost everything anyway, but you know what? Regardless of how much I've lost here on this earth, I could have thrown it, but you know what? I've got an opportunity to get rich in heaven forever and forever and forever. Heaven is permanent. There's going to be no end. You've heard me say forever and forever. And forever and forever and forever, and then forever and forever, and then forever and forever and forever and forever. It's just going to keep going and going and going. So why in the world? I mean, what's really going on? And if we're going to be up there a whole lot longer than we're going to be down here, then we need to start focusing on what we need to do here to determine how we're going to live there. Are you with me? So Romans says the Spirit Himself in 8:16 says the Spirit Himself testifies, bear witness, or assures us, or gives us complete confidence in our spirit that we are children of God. My dad's there on the wall. He was my dad, James Harold Cox. That was my dad, but I'm not, and I'm his son, or I was his son, but I'm not really his son. I was given to him as a temporary person to take care of me. And it says, if we are children, that means if we are born again Christians, then we are heirs. H-E-I-R-S, heirs. Also, if we're children, then we're heirs. Have you ever heard, oh, that person is the heir of the throne? He's only 12 years old. Well, I mean, he's the next in line. He's going to be the heir to the throne. Remember Josiah and Joash and those guys, 8 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old when they were king? Yeah. Okay, they became king because they were the heirs. It was not that they were all that. They were next in line. So it says we're heirs of God and fellow heirs with Christ. Listen to this. One of the things that when we get to heaven, it says that God is our Father. Jesus is to say this is us. What it says when we get to heaven, that we're going to be joint heirs with Jesus. Joint heirs. Jesus is the heir, okay? We're joint heirs. That means fellow heirs. That means we're co-equals or co-inheritors. We're bona fide, adopted sons of God. We've been bona fide. It's a judicial equal. That means in God's spiritual courtroom, we get a 50% split on the inheritance. That means half of what God owns belongs to Jesus, but it says because we've been adopted and we become a son, just like Jesus is a son, now it's 50-50 split. That makes us pretty doggone rich, doesn't it? That should get you excited right there. We should just go out in the streets now and start jumping up and down. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be rich. I don't know if my dad's left me much of anything. What is left, my mom's spending it like crazy. But if she spent it all, it's all right because I've been adopted. And my dad's coming to get me one day, and he's going to take me home. And when I get to heaven, I'm going to have a 50% inheritance of everything that God owns, and so will you. Listen to what Paul Bilheimer says. Redeemed humanity, that means that's our, when we've gone through the process, okay, and God has fully redeemed us, and we get here and we've been fully redeemed. The Bible says we're going to be fully redeemed, okay? We don't know what it'll be like, but we'll be like Him. We'll be like Him. We've been in sin and suffering the consequence. One day we're going to be like Him. This body that wants to eat like a pig all the time, and this body that lusts and wants to smoke cigarettes or smoke crack or shoot needles, that wants to, that's going to be over one day. It's going to be over. No more crying, no more tears. I'm going to be delivered from this stuff. When I get there, redeemed humanity, my final position in heaven, listen to this. Redeemed humanity occupies a total unique position in the hierarchy of the universe. Listen to that. A totally unique position or role in God's universe. Not just in heaven, we're talking about the universe. This is no attempt to depreciate the rank of angels or to bedim them or the radiant splendor of their glory. They are indescribably beautiful, unspeakably majestic, unutterably powerful, and supernaturally intelligent. Let's talk about the angels. They rule celestial domains of untold magnitude and unconceivable grandeur. Their dazzling rank is further attested by the fact that they are surrounded at the throne by the Almighty and constitute the court of the King of Kings. Exalted as they are, however, the highest ranking angel, let's say Michael, and who's the other one? Gabriel. And the other one fell. But just say the highest ranking angel. So, okay. God the Father, God the Trinity, and the highest ranking angels. Michael and Gabriel. The highest ranking angel hovering over the throne of the Most High is outranked, wonder of wonders, by the most insignificant human being who has ever been born again and be redeemed by the blood of the Lamb. Outranked. That means you're going to outrank Gabriel and Michael. Created originally in the image of God, redeemed humanity has been elevated, it's a done deal. We're seated with Him in heavenly places. This is a judicial thing. It's already been done. We just got to kind of walk it out and hang out here. But this is where we're headed. We have been elevated by means of a divinely conceived genetic process known as the new birth, the highest rank of all created beings. Through the bona fide birth, a redeemed human being becomes a bona fide member of the original cosmic family next of kin to the Trinity. Thus God has exalted humanity to such a sublime height that if He elevated them any further, it would be impossible for Him to promote them any further without making them a part of the Godhead itself. So here we are, and here the angels, all kinds of angels and us, and Psalms 1 says, "Who is mere man that God would think of him?" And the angels are sitting here looking, but it says that God has crowned us. So the angels know that redeemed humanity is going to have a higher rank, and they see us down here doing all this stupid stuff, and they're like, how could you take notice of these people, God? However, Lord, you've redeemed them, then you've got this plan. And so anyway, when we're done and we get promoted, we're gonna be promoted above the angels, and we're going to be so close to being a part of God the Father, Jesus the Son, that if we were any closer, God's going to promote us right up to the point that if we were promoted any higher, He would have to give us a position in the Trinity. Are you getting that? Folks, do you have any clue who you are? This is not just Ruby Clay or Billy Graham. I mean, this is all of us. Every one of us that is going to become redeemed is going to have a special rank in heaven. All of us will be all the angels. Some of us will be front row, some of us will be back row, and we're going to talk about that next week, about how we determine who we're going to be. Now the next thing it says, we're going to be the Queen of Heaven. Revelations 19, 7 through 9. Somebody say, come on.
Come on.
Come on. Listen, I'm getting fired up here. I think I might just... 19:7. Let us rejoice and be glad and give glory to Him, for the marriage of the Lamb has come. And this is John prophesying in Revelations about who we're going to be. The marriage of the Lamb has come, and His bride has been made ready. Skip verse 9, 8, and then go to 9. It says, Then He said to me, Right, blessed, how prosperous are those who have been invited to the marriage supper of the Lamb. Listen to that. Blessed are those who get an invitation to this wedding. Revelation 21:9 says, Come here and I will show you the bride, the wife of the Lamb. So we're going to be bona fide sons of God, but we're also going to be, let me just tell you, there's going to be a wedding in heaven. And you're not only invited, but you're going to be the bride. What this says right here is that God the Father is looking for a bride for His Son Jesus. Who is the bride? The bride is the church, the ecclesia. It's a total accumulation of every redeemed, born-again believer that has ever been born again. The bona fide sons of God, the members, the ones that are going on and rule and reign in heaven, you are accumulation, you are going to be, actually, you're going to end up being sitting on the throne, not only being co-equal, but now you're going to be the Queen of Heaven. Jesus is going to be your eternal companion and your romancer. This is why we don't need to be married in heaven, because Jesus is going to be our lover, our romancer, a divine our eternal companion. This makes you understand why we need to know God. This makes you need to understand why you need character. You know, when we get up to heaven and we go on our honeymoon with Jesus, if we don't know Him, how are we going to have any fun? So we're going to be the Queen of Heaven. Listen to this. The purpose of the universe from all of eternity, the purpose, God's intent before the foundation of the world was ever created, the purpose of God creating humanity was the production and preparation of the eternal companion for His Son, called the bride or the Lamb's wife, since she is to share the throne of the universe with the divine lover and Lord. As a judicial equal, she must be trained, educated, and prepared for her queenly role. The entire universe in its totality is cooperating with God in His purpose to select and train His church or His ecclesia or His bride or His eternal companion. The entire universe is ordered for this purpose. God is controlling all events, not only on earth, but in all realms, to serve His purpose of bringing to maturity and eventually to enthronement with His Son above the archangels, but it's not the archangel, but the church, His chosen bride. God has purposed that sometime in the future His Son should have an eternal companion, the bride, the Lamb's wife. John further revealed that His eternal companion, God's eternal purpose, is to share the bride's throne and follow the marriage supper of the Lamb. So, we're the Queen of Heaven now. After the marriage, or after we're married, we're going to have a marriage. What is that marriage going to involve? Okay, I'm the Queen of Heaven. Does that mean I just get to sit around? No, I mean, what is my role? What is going to be my function? What is going to be my purpose? What is it that God's going to have to do for me? Now we know, again, not too many things. Well, we know one is found in Revelations 5:10. Revelations 5:10 says, you have made them. Listen, that's past tense. It's already been done. You have made them to be a kingdom of priests to our God, and they will reign upon the earth. The Amplified says, you have made them a kingdom or a royal race of priests unto our God, and they shall reign as kings over the earth. So right there it tells us two things. One is it says we're going to reign. The word is basiluo, I believe. The word reign comes from the word to be a king or to become a king or to be a king. This is why you need to know the Greek. I started thinking, where in the Bible does it say we're going to be kings? Well, if you know the Greek and you understand it, right here it tells you. This word in the Greek tells you what the word reign means. It says you're going to reign and rule and have dominion and have authority. But you're also going to be a king. So the first thing, we're going to be priests. What do priests do? Priests have to serve, right? They minister to God's needs. God says, okay, I need you to go here. I need you to go do this. I need you to know this. So one of the things God's going to be doing is we're going to be having these assignments sent out through the universe. And God's going to say, I need you to go serve this. And we're going to be going through the universe, galaxy to galaxy, whatever, and He's going to have us serving. I mean, if He's going to send us out to serve, that means there has to be somebody out there we're going to serve. And if it says we're going to be a king, when I go out on this mission and I'm going to be a king, then when I go out here, I can't be a king unless I have a kingdom. There ain't no people in my kingdom, then I'm not a king. So first of all, it says we're going to have a role there, and then we're going to be kings. That means we're going to be sitting on the throne. Everybody. Isn't it going to be nice to be able to tell people what to do now? Bob Crow says that heaven is eternal. It's going to go on forever. That he says that God will actually be creating more and more people. I mean, we have the gospel now, but just think of what heaven's going to be like. If God did this awesome thing here, think of what the universe is going to be like. The galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, right now scientists have said that there is at least 100 billion galaxies. 100 billion galaxies that we know of. And it says that the universe is still expanding. So every day new galaxies are being created. So at the rate, if there's 6 billion on the planet, which I think now is 6 billion, almost 7 billion, right? That tells you how fast we're growing. But they say 1/3 of that is Christians. Let's say just 1/3 of them were Christians. If you were to divide that by 100 billion, that would give everybody 7.6 galaxies. 7.6 Milky Ways. Do you know how big the Milky Way is? I may talk about this next week. So heaven's not going to be boring, folks. We're going to be... So why are we... What are we doing down here? Are we just doing time? Are we just kind of hanging out and just kind of going, folks, we should be jumping out of bed. We should be saying, how can I improve my character? How can I develop? How can I get in on a better inheritance? We should be embracing what's going on here. We should be enduring what's going on here. We should be going down, and we should be looking that one day my dad's coming to get me. When I get to heaven, I'm going to be a son of God. I got a great inheritance coming. Then I'm going to get to be the bride of Christ, the queen of heaven, way above angels. And then I'm going to be sent out, beamed from galaxy to galaxy like Starship Enterprise. And I'm going to be a priest, a king, and a judge. How many know we're going to be judges? What do judges do? Let me tell you what judges do. It says, 1 Corinthians 6:2 says, do you not know that the saints, the believers, one day will judge and govern the world? Verse 3 says, do you not know that we will judge angels? God's not going to fool with the angels. He's going to put us over there. He's going to have us judging the angels. Matthew 19:28 says, I truly say to you that he who has followed me in the regeneration, that means in heaven, when the Son of Man will sit on his glorious throne, you shall also sit with me upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. So a judge is someone who decides. How many have ever been before the judge? Fear and trembling, oh God, this guy can put me away for 20, or he can have mercy. I don't know what he's going to do, but he's going to throw that gavel here pretty quick. My fate is in his hands. He's going to render a verdict between two opinions. He's going to look at everything, and then he's going to throw that gavel down, and then it's on. It is what it is. All right, so what that says right there is you're going to be a priest, you're going to be sitting on the throne being a king, and you're also going to have people that are going to need to be judged. So if God's going to trust you to be a king and a judge, what do you think you're going to need more so than anything? You're going to need character. Not characters, but you're going to have proven character. You're going to have to be smart. You're going to have wisdom. You're going to have to know how to be a good king. You're going to have to know how to judge and decide. So listen to me. All this training, this developing of characters to prepare you for your mission and assignment. 2 Corinthians 5:10, real quickly, I said this last Sunday, says that we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ so that each one may be recompensed for his deeds in the body according to what he has done, good or bad. This judgment is the judgment for Christians where we go before the Bema seat. And God looks at all of our works. He looks at how we lived our life, how we used our time, how we spent our money. He's going to evaluate everything we've done on this. And all that stuff is going to go through the fire test. Okay? And then when we step up to the Bema seat, he's going to divvy out your reward based on your deeds and how well you lived your life, or he's going to hand you out your mission and assignment based on how well you developed your character while you were here on earth. So heaven's not going to be equal, folks. It says here that some will basically, one version says they'll basically get in by the skin of their teeth. That means they'll get into heaven, but they will have wasted their life. So much so that they'll have no character to really show for it. They'll get into heaven, but their assignment in heaven is going to be way in the back when it could have been in the front had they used their time better. So we all are going to appear before that judgment seat. There's going to be a day where we're going to be evaluated. We're going to be given our assignments based on how well we did with what God gave us to do. Amen? Amen. All right, next week we're going to pick this up and look at the big picture, living in light of eternity. So the homework for tonight is to begin to journal about the big picture. What did you learn tonight about the big picture? Amen? Amen.